Two Worlds, One Family by Dragon Translator. Chapter 50. A Tale of Two Minds. Hiccup stared at the twins with a lifted eyebrow. They and Barf and Belch had stopped him above the plaza as Hiccup, Toothless and Sharpshot headed inland to find the Whispering Death a suitable den. That they had stopped him did not bother Hiccup. That they hooted and hollered to get his attention caused the lifted eyebrow. He knew his mind was half focused upon finding the Whispering Death a place to lay her eggs, and half focused on just what Astrid wanted to talk about, but they did not need to act like he would not acknowledge them. Of course, this was the twins. They probably hooted and hollered just for the fun of it.
"Boss man," Tuff said, "we know a perfect place for the Whispering Death."
"Where?" Hiccup asked. "Follow us," Ruff said, directing Barf and Belch to bank towards the edge of Gida's house set near. Hiccup frowned and then sighed. "Follow them, bud," he said to Toothless. Toothless warbled and banked to come alongside the zibbleback. The Whispering Death followed both dragons. Barf and Belch dove when they flew over Gida's house. Toothless grunted but followed along, the Whispering Death right behind him. They landed on a small beach tucked to the back of a massive sea stag Berg sat upon. A cavern that extended into darkness opened upon the beach. Hiccup frowned. He remembered this cave system. His father said the tunnels it connected to crisscrossed under all of Berg. He turned to the Whispering Death and gestured for her to go ahead of everyone. This was to be her home. She would get the first chance to see it and decide if it fit her and the family she carried. The dragon slid forward and soon was enveloped in the shadows of the cave.
"Oh, I love this!"
Hiccup smiled at the joy in the dragon's voice. The Whispering Death slid back out and looked at Ruff and Tuff. She cooed,
"Thank you for showing Alpha this place."
She then turned to Hiccup and bowed.
"It is perfect. I can lay my eggs here, away from direct sunlight, and my children can learn to tunnel. We will ensure the nest is safe, Alpha, so do not worry the tunnels will cause any of your dens to collapse. I will not allow that. Myself and my family can also keep this cave and any others it is connected to safe from intruders."
"I'm glad," Hiccup said. He then frowned and tilted his head before reaching out with his hand, palm facing the dragon. He turned his gaze. Toothless warbled something in the old tongue, and Hiccup felt warm scales press against his open palm. He turned his gaze back to the Whispering Death and scratched her nose. She cooed. "Side note, sorry if you can hear something, and I'm sorry if my voice is a little croaky. I'm bulk recording right now, and I don't have much time, so let's go do this, shall we?"
"Do you mind if I give you a name?" Hiccup asked. "I know it's not something dragons usually do, but it helps me keep everyone straight."
The Whispering Death chuckled.
"I would be honoured, Alpha. I can see how it would get confusing on who is who."
Hiccup smiled. "I'll think of some and get back to you. You can choose which one you like best." The Whispering Death tilted her head, though she did not break contact with Hiccup's hand.
"You are different than any human I have ever known. I am glad you and the warriors of the nest freed me. I hope that my children can show half the honour you do, Alpha."
Hiccup felt his cheeks warm. He rubbed the Whispering Death's nose.
"Will you need anything?"
he asked in an effort to get the attention off whatever honour the dragons thought he held. He still had difficulty accepting compliments.
"Some leaves or moss to lay your eggs upon?" "Thank you for asking, but I will gather those things. They will have my scent upon them, so the hatchlings will know who I am."
"Oh, sorry, I didn't realise that."
"Don't be. How would you know my kind hatch blind and have to rely on their nose to see the world?"
The Whispering Death nuzzled upon Hiccup's hand.
"My children will learn your scent soon after they learn mine, though. You will be their Alpha, and they will need to know that."
"They will?" "Brother," Toothless said, "all baby dragons will learn your scent as soon as possible. Every hatchling in a nest must know who the Queen or Alpha is." Hiccup looked over his shoulder at Barf and Belch. "What about your kind?" he asked the dragons. "You, the Nightmares, the Gronkles, and the Nadders will leave to lay your eggs in the hatchery. How will your babies learn my scent?" "One of the parents," Barf began, "will come for you, Alpha," Belch finished. Toothless looked at the zippleback.
"You would bring him to the hatchery?" Don't others from other nests use the same place?
Yes, Barf said. And their alphas, Belch continued. All queens will come, Barf added. Or be there already, Belle finished.
Forgive me, Alpha, the Whispering Death said. I must gather what I can before the sun breaks the clouds in the sky.
You don't like the sun?
It hurts my kind.
Oh, okay.
Get whatever you need, even from the village if you have to. Just tell whoever asks I said to let you. We'll sort it out afterwards. Thank you, Alpha,
she said, bowing and then rising into the sky. Hiccup turned to Rough and Tough.
Thanks, guys.
The twins smiled. We did listen to Fish when he would talk about the dragons, Rough said. We knew Whispering Deaths liked to be in tunnels and caves.
You did a great job, guys,
Hiccup said, moving to climb into Toothless's saddle. Barf and Belch pulled their maneuver of picking up the opposite twin and placing them in the correct saddle. Hiccup chuckled.
Okay, Tough said. Now, we promised Barf and Belch a chance to go speak with his lady friend.
The dragon's dual heads gave the same snort. Hiccup's eyebrow lifted. Oh, really? He asked. Ruff snickered. Why do you think we suggested you name that female zippleback Sugar and Spice? Barf and Belch have fallen heads over tails for her. It's funny watching them. Both heads bobbed up and down in a sharp manner, though the dragon was careful not to knock the twins off the saddles. The heads then grumbled in the old tongue. Toothless and Sharpshot laughed. Barf and Belch gave Hiccup a short bow and took off. Hiccup grinned. He looked down at Toothless. You think Barf and Belch want to shut the twins' teasing up? Hiccup snorted.
That's a given.
Where to now, brother? We have to get the Squadron settled and then meet Astrid in the cove. Hiccup sighed.
I just hope she's not going to tell me she's annoyed to the point she breaks off our courtship.
I highly doubt that, brother, Toothless said. So do I, Sharpshot added. Hiccup did not answer as Toothless's wings flared, and the Night Fury bounced into the air over the ocean. He was not as sure as his dragons. Astrid was a fierce warrior. Having him worried about her to the point he wanted to remove her from danger might rankle her enough that she did not want to be with him anymore. Mama, Astrid said, stepping into her house, and smiled at the smell of the morning meal. Her family would have already ate and began their day, even with the sun just barely over the edge of the world, and behind some of the clouds. The smell remained, though. It reminded Astrid of times as she grew and awoke to the scent of what her mother called mush, a slightly sweetened flatbread baked that morning and then chopped up and placed in warm yak milk. The flatbread was something her mother was known for, and many in the village brought baskets of it whenever she could make enough. The bees they raised for honey were as ornery as Vikings. Sometimes they did not make as much honey as others, thus limiting how much Edith could make. Edith looked up from her kettle and smiled. Welcome home, dear, she said. I saved you some. Astrid moved to her chair at the small table set at the back of the fire pit. Edith smiled, setting down the wooden bowl Brynja had carved for Astrid the day she was born. Astrid's nostrils flared, smelling the mush. She then frowned. Mama, she said. Hiccup? Edith chuckled and pointed to another wooden bowl Brynja had been carving in the evenings, since Hiccup had asked for permission to court Astrid, and finished at the beginning of the week. I have some for him too. I thought he would have come with you to the house, since I told him he's welcomed here any time. Astrid frowned. We freed some dragons as well as Heather's parents. The Whispering Death decided to call Hiccup her alpha and became part of the nest. He was getting her a den because she is due to lay some eggs. Edith tilted her head. And you didn't go because... Astrid gestured to her hair. I want this gone. It's the same colour as Heather's. Edith gave a small smile that Astrid knew her mother saw more than what she wanted her to. Astrid had long learned not to let that annoy her. Her mother held that power Gita spoke of in abundance. You eat, dear, Edith said. I'll put Hiccups back in the kettle so it stays warm, and I'll warm up some water. Then I'll help you clean your hair so you can tell me about this mission. After that you can take Hiccup his morning meal. Mama, Astrid said, looking down at her bowl, I have some questions. Can Goodlever and Niall go outside while we clean my hair? Astrid felt her mother's fingertips brush against her cheek. Sure, dear. Astrid smiled as her mother drove the grumbling younger brothers out, telling them to go and aid Brynja and Torgir in the village plaza. Astrid began eating, humming alongside her mother as Edith began to warm up some water and gather some hair soap she traded Johan some of her flatbread for, the last time the trader had been in port. The familiar smells and sounds eased into Astrid and washed away the stress of the mission from her. The anxiousness about Hiccup remained, but Astrid had a plan and a goal. Astrid suspected the feelings Hiccup spoke of were good ones, and ones that wanted in a courtship. But she would ask her mother to make sure. Her mother had explained much when telling her what happened after a wedding ceremony. But Astrid had never been in a courtship before. This was still largely unknown to her, and Astrid would learn all that she could. Anything less would be dishonourable to her family, herself, and to Hiccup. If her mother agreed with her suspicions, Astrid vowed to speak with Stoic when the chief returned. He would rectify his bumbling with Hiccup and prove to Hiccup nothing was wrong with him. Before that, though, Hiccup would learn Astrid was going nowhere. He was hers now. She did not lightly cast aside what was hers, and no one would take what was hers from her. She would fight nastier than an angered and injured boar or dragon if anyone tried. End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that one. I really like that chapter. Again, I like the Whispering Death. The whole thing with Rough and Tough being matchmaker to Barf and Belch and Sugar and Spice is funny. And also, one detail here, I love that Brynja carved a bowl for Astrid as she was born, and then when he found out Hiccup was joining the family, made him one too. That makes me so happy. On this holiday my family go to, we often find souvenir kiosks that are full of things that have people's names on them. I bet a lot of you will know what those are. And a lot of them are cereal bowls. We found ones with my family's names on them for years, but have never once found my name. I won't tell you what my name is, obviously. I'm PJ on here. But I'm going to look for one again, because we did find a bracelet with my name on it, and it felt very validating. Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Have a good day, night, or whatever time zone you're in. Bye, my guys, gals, and non-binary pals. I'll see you in another video. Take care.